Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast Dragon Ball edition. Today we are going to be talking some Dragon Ball, some history making Dragon Ball in the month of May. For those who don't know, we're going to get you hip on some things that's been going on that have pushed this franchise even further beyond. Shout out to Sean Schemmel and Goku. We have the Dragon Ball expert, Mr. Mitch Oso. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing pretty good as always. How about yourself?
I am doing well, man. I am doing well. And not to bury the lead at all, we'll get right into it. Mitch, I don't know how this is possible, but Dragon Ball broke records this past fiscal year, and not just one of their companies with Bandai Namco, but also Toei Animation. Like, I don't know how they did it, man.
I don't know where this money comes from. According to Bandai Namco's financial report for their
Mhm.
fiscal year last year. Now, their fiscal year, for everyone who doesn't follow up, starts April 1st and it goes through all the way through March 31st. So it's a little offset from, either a full calendar year of January to December or like the fiscal year in the United States, at least on the federal government level, runs from October 1st to the end of September, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, October to September. But yeah, so Bandai's there's April to March. Yeah, they released their yearly report here, and Dragon Ball was the number one IP of theirs, generating a whopping amount of
Mhm.
190.6 billion yen. And for everybody who's not an expert in yen to US dollar conversion, don't worry, we got that taken care of there for you. And approximately, just for your knowledge, 1 billion yen equals about $7 million dollars, just after the conversion. So we're talking about 190 billion yen. So, you do your math on that. In US dollars, that would mean that Dragon Ball alone generated $1.33 billion dollars. Just, just, just incredible. Tariffs aren't going to harm that, let me tell you, but that's uh that's insane. That's insane. But that's not all of what Bandai had mentioned. Two other franchises or IPs of theirs generated over 100 billion yen.
Mhm.
That was number two, Gundam.
Mhm.
Gundam number two. And number three, the forever lasting One Piece. I mean, on a per episode basis, probably, that equals out, but yep, One Piece, number three. So
Yeah,
Bandai is rolling in the money.
it's kind of crazy too because it was their first Dragon Ball surpassing Gundam in One Piece was their first like IP to ever reach those numbers in a single financial year. The the 190 billion yen, which is wild that like throughout all this year of Bandai Namco, the years and like Dragon Ball is the one who finally reached this number. And it's not even the only record they broke. They broke that in Bandai Namco's thing, but Mitch, they also broke Toei animation records.
It's just they're just pumping out so much stuff. So Toei Animation, the financial report, same time frame, April to end of March, is out, and yeah, Dragon Ball for Toei, 26.5 billion yen, and then One Piece, comes in at number two, rounding up to 25 as well. So just a whole bunch of money being just this cash cow that's Dragon Ball and One Piece, just literally keeping people employed, keeping the economy, just keeping it up. Nah, that's probably a little exaggeration there, but it's just funny to say. So just kudos to the community, just this is what you want, and the numbers speak volumes, and money is wherever the money flows from is where where all the love is going to get. So, those people who, they ponder if the anime is ever going to come back. Well, I got 1.33 billion reasons why it's going to come back. And, will there be, more games or anything like that or so on and so forth? I mean, you give me a number, I'll tell you, slap a billion at the end of it with Dragon Ball, and yeah, yeah, it's coming back. So,
I think it's also crazy with these records that, like, let's just be honest, the only new stuff that's been out is Sparking Zero and Daima.
yeah, that just goes to show you that you don't need much. You don't need much for the crazy obsessed world that we live in and its consumption of Dragon Ball.
You know,
Like,
like, mhm.
if they pull out like an intense slate of stuff in a single year, I mean, they could be pushing $2 billion.
Ooh, talking Avengers Endgame numbers.
Mm-hmm. Well, not Endgame, Infinity War with that one.
That's
Endgame,
true. Endgame was 2.7.
yeah, they got pretty close there. So, but Titanic numbers.
That's, yeah, Titanic numbers.
They're
Avengers, we'll be passing Avengers 1 and 2. Like, if they get to the 2 billion mark, which is wild.
it's yeah, that's crazy. So,
So
and
then they continue to make history because not only did they just make big financial stuff. Dragon Ball Daima this was crazy. Was nominated as a favorite cartoon nominee for the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, and it is the first anime since Pokemon back in 2000 to be ever nominated for something like this.
pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty crazy that like I was trying to think. I'm like Super was never nominated, but I also wonder if it mattered a little bit as to when this stuff was aired. You know what I
mhm.
mean? Because I always remembered Super being aired late on like, Saturday.
Oh yeah,
Not just when we would, watch it on Facebook or whatnot, but like I feel like Super aired later on like Adult Swim. So it's like I don't know if it would have been nominated for you know, anything just because of the time frame of it. But whereas Daima here, it's released smack dab in the middle or the end of the workday of Friday.
Daima
So it's like,
Fridays, man.
and that resembled more of what it was for us when we were children.
Hmm.
We would get off school, we'd wait till 5 o'clock, and Toonami would roll on, and then we're fighting our parents to not have to go eat dinner until Dragon Ball's done. So, so I bet that it had a larger audience, which appealed to you know a younger audience, and Nickelodeon was like, yeah, it deserves consideration. So,
Yeah, I think it's just wild because you see it going against stuff like The Simpsons and SpongeBob, Teen Titans Go, and it's just a huge honor. I mean, and it wasn't even just the only nomination. It got nominated too for the Astra Awards presented by the Hollywood Creative Alliance, nominee for Best Anime Series, Dragon Ball Daima. So they keep winning, man.
yeah, yep, yep.
Like it's just wild on stuff, but Mitch, I don't. This is actually funny how they're breaking these records now and getting nominated for these awards now, which is always a huge honor. Mitch, I don't know if you know that we're officially about the 10-year anniversary of Dragon Ball Super.
Ugh,
Isn't that isn't that crazy? We are at the 10-year anniversary.
you make me feel old, man. Just crazy. But it goes back to other things that we have mentioned. We're at the 10-year anniversary for this stuff, but we're still, what? How, 7 years
Hmm?
since we've seen the anime? Like,
Yeah,
from the
2018. Yep.
super anime. So, fortunately, we got Daima, so, that number is kind of faded, per se. But, like, the fact that it was 10 years ago and we haven't seen new super anime in 7 years. It's like I almost start to wonder if like we need to be viewing it more like in our minds as to like what Z is in our mind, you know, just a relic of the past and not something that we should base stuff on. But
Yeah, I think it's wild to think like 10 years ago, thinking of like the movies, obviously Battle of Gods, which was even further back before they did the series because that was 2013, and like Resurrection F and then Super starting and redoing those first two movies as arcs that it's been 10 years. And the fact that you haven't, like you said, had a continuous series, unless you count quote unquote Daima, you haven't had a continuous series for 7 years, and you just had with one 20 episode series in a video game your most successful year ever.
these video games though, they really these video games truly help the series
Hmm.
like stay alive because like before Xenoverse, for example, people's common complaint about the games was that they were essentially all the same and that
Yeah.
it's just a rehashing of the story.
Yep.
So you could pick up any Dragon Ball game, and while the gameplay itself might be different, the storyline is the same.
Hmm.
So those people who were, or the players, the fans who were born post Z, have always been able to observe and like know what happened in Z so then they can catch up with Super and Daima and everything faster than like how long it took for us to learn it because we had to watch it as it came out.
Yep.
Um and yeah, that's if the video games were not holding this up, we're not looking at $1 billion, you know? So
No, I agree.
it's impressive.
Yeah, and they keep going, but it's kind of weird to think it's like again 10 years, whole decade. You think about the mangas that we've read of Super in the past 10 years and the moments, the WTF moments. I mean, just running across like old stuff of when we also used to do previews on the podcast, the Goku Sensu Bean preview, one of our craziest episodes ever, or like the Bardock Wish preview episode. Like, thinking all of that has already been like years ago is
Oh
crazy.
yeah. Hmm.
And like, and just like that volume cover that Torotaro drew of, I guess you want to call them the new Z, I mean, the current Z fighters of everyone in their strongest forms of Orange Piccolo, Beast Gohan, Ultra Instinct Goku, Ultra Ego Vegeta, and Legendary Super Saiyan Broly. Like just seeing the five of them on that picture is like one, that's crazy, but and it's really good artwork, but it's like, damn, it's really been 10 years. And that's the other thing too, Mitch, most successful year ever. There's been no manga. We've had the one shot, but we really haven't had any since basically Toriyama's passing.
Yeah. It's it's eh,
You think of the
what
manga and a show, if the manga, show, and a movie all started, you think they can make 2.2?
the only thing that I can just try to think of is it strategically smarter for them to put out like a moderate amount of stuff each year
Hmm.
because then, it's not overstuffing,
Hmm.
the community, or would it be more beneficial if they just absolutely unleashed the floodgates and just and gave us anime, manga, new video game, just movie
Movie,
announcement,
yeah.
something. I I would think that if they did everything all in one year, it would be right at that two mark, I
Hmm.
suspect. I just I just wonder if they actually have a way smarter strategy than just dumping it. Like they're thinking long term and not just single year like records, because hell, this moderate amount still breaks records. So it's like that's one thing too. Let's say they let the hounds out and they just do everything all at once and they shatter the record for 2.3. That's the new benchmark. And then like the next year, whenever they don't reach the 2.3, all those investors in Bandai, they'll
Hmm.
start freaking out, you know? So it's like you can't you can't just shatter the record without your future being completely solid as to your earnings reports because essentially these guys they have to answer to their stakeholders all the time. So I think it could, but I don't think they will.
Interesting. We'll see. But 10-year anniversary, which I think is actually going to be funny too, because at the halfway point, I mean, this August will be the 5-year anniversary of your first episode, the first episode on the podcast.
It really is crazy to think where we've come in 5 years.
Yeah, I always listen. I always go back to that first one. It's like, man, how much has Dragon Ball changed since that first episode? And it's how much has stayed the same?
What'd you find?
I mean, I would have to listen to it again. I have to wait
Oh,
till
I thought you said
August.
you
No,
did.
I haven't done it today. No, no, no. I'll do it in August. It's just always, I always just laugh at like, man, look at the sound of our first audio compared to now.
Maybe that could be an August podcast.
Just re-listening to it. Yeah,
Re-listening to the first one and then just talking shit about how ridiculous
I like it. I like it. That should
slash
be.
we were.
Oh yeah, book it. That's the August one. Book it right there.
There you
Uh,
go.
Mitch, you talked about the games, and you are definitely right. These games, I mean, now with Diamond DLC coming in parts, they know what they're doing. They could have part one and two in all the different games. Unbeknownst to us, just today, Xenoverse 2 dropped their trailer for Adult Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta and Super Saiyan 4 Daima Adult Goku. It's the first time both these two are in a game like this, so they dropped the trailer today, man. Like, that's kind of crazy to see, like, that's the first full-fledged adult Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta.
I wonder if these other game franchises are pissed off that they didn't like get them first. Like, is there like this sibling rivalry like going on? Like is Kakarot
Well,
or
Kakarot's is in July. They're doing two parts too.
yeah.
So, but then
It's like
Sparking
I just wonder
Zero,
because of if they're not first, are they last?
well, that's true. Because
But
Sparking
or
Zero did they got Kid Vegeta first. So he was the
yeah,
one who got to go one, two, and three. So,
yeah.
oh, it's a good point. It is a very good point.
I gotta
It's kind of like what we were talking about in our chat about like college football games and like drafts. I wonder if all the games come to the meeting and it's like, all right, Daima, you get first pick. Which character do you want first in your game? And I could maybe it is something like that because it's like, oh, we want to do the open world first. We're gonna be the first Daima open world. All right, Sparking Zero. Well, we want Kid Vegeta Super Saiyan 3 because that was really the first shock of Daima. We were all like, what the hell? All right, the Xenoverse 2. Well, we've been around the longest, so we want the first. We want adult Super Saiyan 4 Goku and adult Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta first. All right, Legends, Dokkan. Oh, we want this and this. I get that. Maybe like that, bro.
maybe it probably goes back to where they have to spread all this out because they ju- they don't want to open up the floodgates. Like
Yeah.
they just it's moderate, so it's just like okay, well, Xenoverse, I guess you're teeing up here for your May release. Okay, who wants July?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be 2 months of people playing Xenoverse, and then somebody's going to shift to another game,
Yep.
and your spotlight, and then September will roll out something else, and yeah,
Yep. Yep. I agree. I agree. What? And then speaking of Sparking Zero, currently right now, it's already sold 5.4 million copies. And I'm assuming too that I mean there'll be more to come because they'll also get the adult versions of the characters, and we'll go from there. Mitch, Daima ended this last weekend. Nope, we're not talking about Japanese. English dub. They did an hour special, which I think was cool that they did like an hour special back to back to finish it off. That would have been cool if we would have had that in real time when it was first coming out, but It is over. It is done with. Now you can watch Daima in English and in Japanese. We got to hear Sabbath be a Super Saiyan 3 adult Vegeta for the first time. We got to hear Sean do his Daima version of Super Saiyan 4 Goku. And yeah, man, for some people, reliving the ride was fun.
It was. I liked the whenever the during the transformation to
Hmm.
Super Saiyan 4. I like that they changed some of the dialogue from what the Japanese dub was. Like,
Hmm.
it wasn't a bonus,
Hmm.
because I thought that was kind of silly, verbiage to choose there. And, he, pays like, homage back to whenever he transform a Boo, go further beyond blah blah blah. And everybody wanted to hear the scream, hear the iconic yell from the chest, and very impressive as always. I do think though that Sean has had better. Like his original Super Saiyan 3 one is iconic. Even the one against Janempa.
Janemba's, I think, might be the best ever.
Yeah.
I really do. Mhm.
But I'll say this respectfully. I think I liked Nozawa's. I liked her transformation into Super Saiyan 4 more than Sean's in Daima. Now,
Mhm.
I still like Sean's. I thought it was awesome, but like, I don't know, just personal preference, I think. But but nah, Sean killed it though. I find it strange though that he said that he passed out like 3 or 4 times because I'm like, maybe it's because of age. Maybe it's strictly just because age. Because Majin Buu, that fight was recorded 20 years ago, and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, maybe age is catching up to him there, but
Well, it's actually it's crazy too because it's like I don't want to say he was out of practice or anything like that, but with Nozawa, I mean, she was even when they got turned to kids, they still had the same voice actors, you know?
yeah,
So it's like you were still in the game all those episodes. So you were ready to let that big scream out. Like there was nothing really different. Like Sean, you were in episode one, and then you were in episode 19 and 20.
yeah.
So it's like, what were you doing? And it's also one of those things too that we know, like him, Sabbath, all these other people are like a quadrillion different characters in other shows. So, but I mean, I have no problem with either of them. I
They're
enjoyed
good.
listening to them, and I was just like, oh, this is great. So again, for people who want to watch English dub Daima, because you want to play it in the background when you're doing stuff, you can have that instead of like sub where you got to watch and look at the dialogue and all of all of that. So, and hell, we forgot. And then we got to hear the bath scene
Yes,
in English, and that was hilarious.
it was. It, it just an iconic moment, a hilarious iconic moment, and it's funny how that line was in there, and yet here we are on Nickelodeon nominating this thing for an award of just too
Oh.
funny.
No, that is true. That's actually really good. I think
But
well, they
Simpsons are
kept
on
it
there, so
PG. They said bath. Like if they really wanted to take it to the next level and say what they really wanted to say, I don't think they'd have been nominated.
that's hilarious. I mean, Simpsons is on there, so I mean,
That's true. That is that is true. That is true. Well, that's really it. But since it is the 10-year anniversary of Dragon Ball Super, Mitch gonna throw you a curveball to end the pod. What are your five favorite? We're gonna do five, so five apiece. What are your five favorite moments from Super in the past 10 years?
strictly super.
You can count the manga too and movies, but yes, just Super.
Top five super moments.
Doesn't have to be in any order or anything. Just your five favorites.
I'm trying to run through everything in my head here real quick. Moments that are sticking out in my mind when Vegeta gets stabbed by um, by Black.
Mm,
Whenever he goes rose, it
hmm.
overpowers him and stabs him, and then we're like, uh-oh. And then, Goku has to, step in. I thought that moment was, for me, it was pretty iconic because it was like, at that moment, then we're like, okay, are they screwed?
Yeah, no, that was crazy. And what we'll do with these moments too, we can just go back and forth so it gives the other person a little bit more time to think. So you hit the one where Vegeta got stabbed. That yeah, it was because it was just like, damn, who's this? We still didn't even know who he was at that point, too.
Yeah,
The
just
rumors were flying. That was probably one of my favorite time periods of Super because we had no idea who Goku
oh
Black
yeah,
was.
pure mystery.
Uh, mine, because you want to talk about a holy shit moment, I'll start at the bottom. Frieza hitting us with the just kidding when he was in that destruction ball and condensing it and his music starts playing. We're like,
Oh yeah,
I was like, oh my God.
yep. That was a pretty good moment. I'm also trying not to think of, moments that everybody is like,
Yeah, that's
eh, you
yeah.
know,
Hmm.
trying to be a little original because I could sit here and be like, even though
Ultra Instinct.
when Goku with the Spirit Bomb
Hmm.
like that was wild because Jiren was just absolutely smoking the shit out of Goku. And then he throws the Spirit Bomb at him, and that does not do anything. And then it just like recoils right back at Goku and picks him up. But then all of a sudden, Goku comes out of that thing stronger than ever. And but no, you got that one scene from there when Goku's realizing or he's learning about this, this what was it called? UI? I don't want to say Omen. What was it?
Autonomous Ultra Instinct.
No, whenever he's in that right before MUI.
Yeah, Ultra Instinct Omen.
Yeah, Omen.
Hmm.
Because like he's walking towards, Jiren and Dispo and Topo are they're on the edge of the crater.
Yep.
And you see that first person view of Goku trying to kick Jiren in the face, and he sprints right up there,
Hmm.
misses, but then Goku has that realization. He's like, "Whoa, what the fuck am I doing? This is awesome." Whatever. That was a cool scene.
So you putting that one of your five?
Yeah, I'll put that one when
Okay.
after Spirit Bomb, the first sighting of Omen. That was
Okay.
sweet.
Um. Ooh.
Oh, I'm just going to say this one. I don't want to put it top five because again, I'm trying to be original here, but
Hmm.
Goku and Frieza knocking out Jiren.
Oh yeah, at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Okay.
at the end. Just that one.
Okay. Okay. No,
Mm,
that's a good one. Man.
Vegeta's final flash
Yeah, the
against G.
Vegeta final flash against Jiren, that monologue was really, really, really cool
Yeah, yeah.
in that sense. Um,
Oh, I can think of another one in the manga.
mhm.
When Goku is with the Galactic Patrol and they tell him about Moro and he starts sensing for Moro.
Mm, hmm.
And then, he locks on to Moro and he feels his energy and he's like it feels like, 1,000 souls screaming, whatever, however he described it. That was really ominous. But then like the fact that Moro sensed that he was being sensed,
Hmm.
like something that none of us had ever considered before, you know.
Yeah, feeling that you bring sense by someone else. You're
Yeah.
right. We've never thought of that.
Yeah, and that was it never even occurred to us. Like, and it makes complete sense. If someone can feel your aura, then they are having some sort of effect on your aura. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's just that was amazing.
No, yeah, that was really, really good. The manga one, which a scene I'm waiting to be animated, even though we crap on those films a lot. The Goku and Vegeta side by side against Universe Strongest Gas. When they're
Hmm.
both like, "Oh, I'm gonna be the one to beat him. Fine, we'll fight together," and they both jump to UI and UE at the same time. Like that panel is really good, and I can't wait to see. that animated because that one was really good.
Yep, yep.
I mean, yeah, like you're saying, like thinking of ones that are outside of the box, because obviously, like people think of UI's transformation or UE's. Like the transformations will always come up. Black Frieza's arrival. I think that one was one of the biggest shockers in Dragon Ball history because we're like, we asked for 2 years, where's Frieza? Because he's integral to this story. He shows up the last chapter, he's like kills Gas immediately. We're like, wait, how did he do that? Shows a new form, says he's been training for 10 years in the chamber and leaves. And that's really how this shit really ended forever. And we're just like, what the hell?
I'm thinking of a lot of things with like Maris as well.
Mirrors, I was
Because like finding out that he's an angel was
mm-hmm.
pretty an angel in training, just playing cop, or the fact that he was actually going all out for a moment against Moro just to give, you know, Goku and them a chance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That'd
Like
be a good moment.
those were cool.
Or
Oh,
or even oh, what's his name? The Supreme Kai in which Majin Buu absorbed. De Dikaioshin?
mm-hmm. Haven't coming out of
Yeah,
nowhere after 20 million years.
yeah, 20 million years, he just, poof, here I am. Hey, look at that. Moro, Fat Boo's over here just absolutely destroying, you know, Earth and whatnot. And he's like, nah, no, I'm good. I'm gonna just sit in the subconscious here for a while. So,
You obviously got the Beerus Hakai to Zamasu.
oh my God, yes. I think a lot of people would say that one, but that one
Yeah.
escaped my mind.
Yeah, I feel like that one. I feel like a lot of people would also say the return of Kaioken against Hit.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that was the first time we saw Kaioken since the other World Tournament. Um, oof. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff, man. Like when you think about it, there's a lot of cool things,
a lot of cool moments.
a lot of cool moments that happened in the manga and the anime and the movies. Like obviously seeing Broly, Gogeta, Beast Gohan, seeing Goku and Gohan spar near basically the end of the Super that we've seen, and we've seen now it's had a lot of cool moments, man. It's just oh, but then it's just like, man, you think of all these moments, and you're like, oh my gosh, this sounds so great. And then when you start watching some of the episodes and how some of the series ended, you're just like, what the hell?
Yep.
But no, that was really it. But with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Happy 10-year anniversary to Dragon Ball Super. And heck, I mean, we probably have absolutely positively nothing to do with Super's revenue going. But hey, if anyone in Japan's been listening to our pod and passing it around, we'll gladly take maybe 1% credit for helping you guys reach your biggest years financially. But with that
I'll
being
wait for that check to come into my account.
with that being said, thank you everyone listening for the L7C podcast. Mitch already told you what we're doing in August. We're going to review our first episode and then we'll fill in the months of the summer. With that being said, take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.